So a couple of you guys said ego. What do you mean by ego specifically? You two said ego.
I just mean by like, from the experience I had is the only thing I can speak on, but I've dealt with very egotistical men.
Okay.
And there's really nothing you can change about that. We live in a world where men can be egotistical. All that matters to them is fame, what they perceive to the world, what they perceive to the internet, what they perceive to their lives.
But wouldn't it be fair to say that men typically earn their ego while women are just giving it to them?
I think that ego is not earned. I don't
You don't think so?
No, I don't think it's ego.
I'm saying for
earned.
men.
Right. I don't think that's earned.
The guys that you said that you dealt with, because you said in your personal experience, what did they do for a living that made them so egotistical? Higher earners, successful, famous? What was it? So I would argue that it's an earned ego then.
I wouldn't say it's earned. I don't think you should. I think it's soul. I think you should have a good soul, and that soul and ego are two completely different things. You could be confident, you could be so passionate. That means you could have a good soul. But when you egotistical, you bringing somebody else down. You know, you don't know how to clap for your other person.
Did they bring you down, or is that like what specifically do you?
Not me specifically, no.
Okay.
But that's how
they brought other people down?
For sure.
How so?
Talking shit.
Such as?
Well, specific, like talking shit.
Yeah.
Talking about someone else's job, talking about somebody else's money, talking about what other people are doing when it's really none of your business, and you should really just focus on yourself.
Okay.
Wait, but hold on. You chose those men though.
That's my mistake. I learned, and that's why I said egotistical. Exactly.
I would argue women like egotistical men, and I would argue also that men earn their ego, versus like women a lot of women have egos and they didn't do shit in their life.
I'd agree
men
to
typically
an extent.
have to earn their ability to have an ego, because if you're a guy and you haven't accomplished anything, you can't really walk around with an ego because everyone's gonna laugh at you.
Exactly.
But with females, a lot of girls have done nothing except be pretty, and then they have an ego.
Yep.
So at least I would argue, at least for men, the ego's earned. Do you agree with her as far as like, because you also said men have egos?
When I said ego, what I meant was like the way they speak to you. Like their egos are so big, they feel like you don't have a voice. Like you can't say how you feel, or like it's almost like it doesn't matter, you know?
But are feelings relevant in a conversation about fact?
I guess
emotional
not.
maturity.
But again, like I said, women are emotional beings. We can't help it. Like we just be like, oh, like why'd you talk like that? Like it's like you got a big ego. Like what?
Yeah, but aren't women adults?
We are, but we're emotional beings, and we
but
always
aren't
will
they adults that are capable of making their own decision in some level of rational thought?
Yep, raising kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, because a lot of girls get mad when I say like we don't really give a shit about female. And the reason why is because women tend to look at the world through an emotional lens. And when you look at the world through an emotional lens, well, emotions change all the time and they're erratic. So do you really want someone that's kind of unstable about how they feel, like talking about
for sure,
or
but
giving their opinions on things?
Sometimes women have like these feelings of like certain things, like maybe like something bad is gonna happen, and like women will have that like intuition, like, oh, I feel like this is gonna happen, and then maybe it does happen, and then it's like, oh shit, like he should have listened. You know what I mean? Like sometimes women have these like feelings. So sometimes, you know, he should listen.
I think a woman's opinion can be taken into consideration, but I think in general, the final decision maker should always be the man.
No, and I agree. I agree with you. But I feel like making a woman feel like she doesn't have a voice and she's not heard, like it's kind of like, it's not something
you can
should
hear
do.
her, but like, I mean, to take her opinion seriously. I mean, I genuinely think that, you know, it's got to be the guy that makes the final decision. And
yeah, and I agree.
And
as a man, you should lead, right?
Yeah.
But don't make your woman feel like she's this small when she tells you, hey babe, you know, I think this about this situation. You're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about?
Stupid.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes into, I mean, there's a difference between like giving your take on something and then like being overly opinionated. I think a lot of women are overly opinionated when they haven't really accomplished anything. And the reason why guys like don't really give a shit about what they have to say most of the time is because, especially successful men, is because we live life on easy mode.
Could you imagine every time you had an emotional, I want to say need, he listens to all your needs versus going out there working, hustling for you and the family? That would be annoying.
So what you just said, what if it's consistent though? Like what if you're dealing with somebody and they're bringing up a consistent feeling. Like you're consistently doing this. At that point, it's repetitive, and that's a problem. So it's not like she's saying, "Oh, today I had a bad day. You spoke to me this way. You spoke to me that way."
Then leave.
But it's more exactly. But then it's more if you guys are in.
It's not that easy.
It is.
It's not.
If you guys are in a relationship and she understands your role, you understand hers, and if you guys love each other, she's coming to you and saying, "Babe, this is kind of bothering me. Like this is a problem in a relationship." Do you believe that your ego or your pride is more valued than listening and trying to fix that?
I mean, it depends if it's valid. But like a lot of girls will like have, oh, I feel this way about something that's like insignificant or stupid.
So, but then it's consistent. What if she consistently feels like you're doing something and you're hearing her? Like you could be like, I understand this is probably why I do that. And it's vice versa. Like what if she does something that you don't like and you speak to her and you say, I'm the man. If I say something, you should listen. You should understand. It's the same. It's hand in hand.
Yeah, we don't negotiate with women over here.
Yeah, who's paying the bills?
Like I don't negotiate with women ever. I look at it like we don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate with women because. The thing is that as a subordinate, right, as someone that's supposed to follow me, what the fuck do I look like as the boss, like, negotiating with you, like, oh, let's do what you want to do? Like, no, that's not how it goes.
So you should lead. As the man, you should lead. But at least just be like, okay, babe, like, I heard you.
We can hear you out for sure.
Be like, I heard you. Like, shit,
out.
I heard you. But that doesn't necessarily mean, like, you need to go with, like, what the fuck we said. But at least, like, I heard you.
I get it. You want to feel like you're heard. But to be honest, man, most girls just want to be pretty and show up. They don't want to have to think about nothing. That's the truth.
For sure. But that takes a different type of man to have to shut your brain off. Like, you have to admit, like, in today's society, it's not a lot of men that are like that. Like, you can't shut your brain off because if you do, oh, baby, you'll drown.
Whose fault is it for picking men that don't allow you that luxury?
But that brings it back to what she said. Some men be capping. Like, you think, like, oh, my God, like, this is the guy. But
they show you who they want to show you.
But then
they fuck
it's
you.
like a complete lie.
They get you.
No, not no
but whose fault is that, though?
But it's not even. It's like they're putting up.
So
this,
you
like,
always talk about accountability. You ain't gonna take none for men.
No. I'm saying.
You know
at
men
the end
be
of the day,
lying.
No, they do.
You know
they
men
absolutely
be
do.
lying.
But it's on women to like be able to detect that and identify. Okay.
Yes, but it takes a while.
This guy's involved in criminal activity. I probably shouldn't take him seriously. Or this guy pays for everything in cash. Let me use my deductive problem solving skills and figure out what the fuck is going on here.
You're right about that.
But you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
There's so many guys out there that are actually good men, have a solid job, care about you, want to be with you.
Yep.
But you ignore those guys. You're
They
like,
got a small dick.
Go to the
Not
scammers.
true.
The scammers.
Yeah,
out here.
like it's the women that pick the egotistical guys and reward. You
The
guys
dick is small.
positively, reward the guys that are supposed to be toxic and bad. So whose
you're
fault
right.
is it really?
It takes a time to like actually know those guys, but you guys repeat the same process over
Because
and
in
over again.
order to see if they're paying with cash, you have to go like on a few dates, stuff like that. Because what if I'm not speaking from my experience, but I'm just saying, what if like a woman is just like kind of like
Based
on
on
the
your
phone with a
experience.
guy? Yeah, maybe Instagram experience. Who knows? Like, how do you know at that point? Because he's just capping. Like, and you think like, oh yeah, this is the guy, but then it's not. It's like you just never know.
That's why you
sometimes.
just date. You take your time and date. I know
Exactly,
you guys call
but
us hoes
then you're
because
gonna have
we'll
to take your
date
time, right? So
take
you
your time
so you're
and
gonna
date.
take your time to find out that he's a liar.
Yes. But
I don't got like some women just don't have time for that.
Emotional damage.
Okay, so I can admit men do sell dreams sometimes.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And on some level, there is some type of like risk because if you take this guy serious, he could let you down and be your downfall. However, once you realize he's full of cap, just bounce. You guys stay forever, and it's like, oh, why is he doing this to me? You're staying there.
I hear you,
Got
but
attachment
again,
issues.
women are emotional. They get attached. They be in
Bad.
love.
Whose fault is that?
It's our fault, of course,
There you go.
but it's not. It technically, it is our fault. But at the same time, we were created this way. We were created
can't
to like
help
be emotional, to be attached to a specific man, and to love him throughout whatever. Right. So when that happens,
Are women adults and capable beings?
we are.
Yeah, I want to
but
sit here and
it's
say,
hard.
oh, feminism,
When
we're
you're
equal to
in
men,
love-
but then
I'm not equal to no man. I
Oh,
will sit
now-
here and I will say that shit. I've been saying this shit my whole life. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care if no one agrees with me on this table. I'm not equal to a man. I'm not. And I don't care. I'm not.
That is true.
I'm a woman. I'm
Woman,
soft and
I
I'm
don't know.
bad.
God is a
I don't give a
woman.
shit.
That's all I gotta
roles.
say.
We are not
Who
equal.
said that? That's not true, by the
We
way.
are not equal.
God is a woman.
No.
Talk your
Adam was
shit.
made first.
We are
In the image of
not.
God, so he's definitely not a woman.
God is a woman.
No,
I'm gonna
no,
leave
he's
it at
not.
that. I ain't arguing about this.
That's
I ain't arguing with
blasphemy.
no man.
That's
We're
bla-
not. Our lives
that's
aren't as
blasphemy.
hard.
He's not a woman at all.
Our lives are
talking
not
about?
as hard as men for centuries. Our life has not
Who
been
is
as
this, man?
hard. No.
She's
Oh,
single for a
shit,
reason.
man.
A man has to go through so much to make sure that like everything is like on point. We do not have to do that shit, let's be honest. Unless you're like really out here like working, like no, because I know I don't have to work
Let's
hard,
be real.
so.
You
Yeah,
can
we can
tell
tell.
if a man can financially
We heard
and
the
mentally
bars.
I'm
reach
glad you could tell.
through
I'm
dating,
glad you could
man.
tell, baby.
Oh,
You
shit.
can. Eventually, he's gonna. Everybody show their cards.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Take your time and date.